Today I'm going to show you how to sew this book sleeve with 2 front pockets and a Velcro closure. The rounded front pocket is perfect for storing an eraser, sticky notes, or other small items. The rectangular pocket can hold a small planner or a cell phone. It also has 3 separate slots for pens or pencils. The book sleeve closes with Velcro and is deep enough to hold 2 large, thick books. It can also be used for a Kindle or an iPad. So, let's get started. For this project, we'll need a piece of outer fabric measuring 30-40 centimeters, 11.8-15.7 in, and the same amount of batting. First, we need to draw diagonal lines and quilt the fabric along these diagonal lines. Next, using the pattern pieces, which you can find through the link in the description below this video, cut out all the necessary pieces. You will need 2 quilted main body pieces, 2 main body lining pieces. For each pocket, 1 outer fabric piece and 1 lining piece. For the Velcro tab, 2 outer fabric pieces, 1 piece of batting, and Velcro. Now, let's attach the lining to the rectangular pocket. Place the pocket pieces with their right sides facing each other and sew along the top edge using a 1 cm, 3/8 inseam allowance. All pattern pieces already include a 1 cm, 3/8 inseam allowance. Turn the pocket right side out and press it. Then, from the right side, sew a line 3 mm, 1/8 in from the top edge for a neat and finished look. Repeat the same steps with the second pocket. Place the outer fabric and lining right sides together and sew along the top edge using a 1 cm, 3/8 inseam allowance. Turn it right side out, press it, and sew 3 mm, 1/8 in from the top edge. Now, attach the rectangular pocket to the front panel of the book sleeve. Sew it in place using the 1 cm, 3/8 inseam allowance. Then, using the pattern, mark the lines for the 3 pen slots on the pocket, and stitch along these lines through the pocket and the front panel. Next, place the rounded pocket on top of the rectangular pocket. Sew around the edges using a 1 cm, 3/8 inseam allowance, following the same stitching line as the rectangular pocket. The 2 pockets overlap, with the rounded pocket positioned on top of the rectangular pocket. Now let's make the Velcro tab. First, trace the Velcro tab pattern onto the fabric, making it slightly larger than the actual tab piece. Using the marking on the pattern, mark the placement point on the fabric. Then mark the Velcro placement with chalk or a fabric marker and sew the Velcro in place following the markings on the pattern. Next, place the 2 tab pieces right sides together and place a piece of batting of the same size underneath them. Sew around the drawn line, leaving the bottom edge open. Turn the tab right side out through the opening. Press it, then top stitch all the way around 3 mm, 1/8 in from the edge for a neat finish. Now find the center of the top edge of the back panel of the book sleeve and attach the finished Velcro tab there. Using the pattern, mark the placement for the second half of the Velcro on the front panel and sew it in place. Next, we need to attach the lining to the front and back panels of the book sleeve. Place the lining and front panel right sides together and sew along the top edge using a 1 cm, 3/8 inseam allowance. Repeat the same with the lining and back panel. Open the 2 assembled pieces and place the front and back panels right sides together. Do the same with the lining, placing the lining pieces right sides together. Sew all the way around, leaving a 5-7 centimeters, 2.8 in opening at the bottom of the lining for turning. Next, sew the corners of the book sleeve to create its depth. Turn the book sleeve right side out through the opening. Close the opening in the lining with your sewing machine. Then top stitch all the way around the opening of the book sleeve, very close to the edge, for a neat and finished look. And that's it. This book sleeve has a special feature. It isn't flat, it has depth, which allows it to hold thick books. It can fit not just 1, but 2 large, thick books. And if you're carrying thinner books, you can fit several of them inside. It also has 2 practical exterior pockets, making it even more useful. You have 3 slots for pens and pencils, plus a pocket for your phone or a small planner. I absolutely love how this book sleeve turned out. This design is available in several sizes. You can find all the sizes, patterns, and sewing instructions in my shop through the link below this video. Thank you so much for watching. On my channel, you'll find lots of practical and cute sewing ideas, including other book sleeve designs as well. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Do you like this book sleeve?